So it has come to my attention that the nozzle return spring change is a little bit more difficult than I thought. So what I wanted to do is show you guys how to do this. And yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead, have this brand new bolt out of a Toki Marui and going to be replacing it with a DieTac or dynamic precision nozzle return spring. The things that you're gonna need in terms of tools is I would recommend a mat while you're doing some of the punching. You obviously need a punch set for the pins, a pair of fine tweezers helps a lot as well. Some needle nose can work as well, and then the hammer for the punching. And the really key part here is either to have some sort of like V-block mat, so that way when you're doing your punching it doesn't, it doesn't roll away from you, or just have a table vise to clamp things down and make sure, again, it doesn't roll away from you while you're working on your piece. So first thing I'm gonna do is take off the plastic key up here. Let's just unscrew that. And just make a quick note on the screw. If you've used it a couple of times, you're gonna see some wear marks. I don't know if it's gonna focus. Let's see here. Try to focus that. Yeah, I don't think you guys can make that out, but there's a small wear mark if you see it moving around. And just make sure those are facing rearward on the bolt. And that's just gonna make sure that you don't over torque these screws, because everything here is die cast, just pot metal. And so being careful here, I'm gonna slide this back piece up and then slide this top piece forward a bit. Helps to get this spring out of here too. There we go. And I should be able to pull that forward. Come on, there we go. So next up is this plastic piece right here, and then your nozzle comes right out. So here we are with this piece. We'll go ahead, unscrew the screw on the top of the nozzle. That comes out, and then sometimes you can get it out without it, but yeah, that'll work. We'll leave that on. Just gotta wiggle it around a bit. So here's the culprit. Number one culprit, number one thing that breaks in a Toki Marui MWS is this spring is just not rated for green gas, and so you want to replace that. So I'm gonna get my punch set here. I've just got a soft mat. We'll see if we can do this without the vise. And we'll just tap this out, easy enough. So I don't take the pin out all the way. And the plastic side's pretty easy to get out, so that's not a really big issue. And then there we go. So we'll leave that off the side. Again, I don't take the pin out all the way. It's gonna save you a lot of headache. So this is the trickier one. I'm probably gonna have to use the vise block for this one. So I'm gonna grab it right about there. I'm gonna grab my punch, just give it a couple of taps. All right. So we've got the old spring out. Again, I want to keep that pin in there, save some headache. I'm gonna want to go in here and try to get this plastic keeper out of the old spring. All right, so I got tired of trying to mess with this thing. There is a split in it. If I can show that. There's a split in the plastic. So you can get it out without messing up the stock spring, but I just didn't want to deal with that, so I'm gonna go ahead and put all this in a bag. I mean, it is still usable. It's a little bit weakened, but if you need it in a pinch, you got something. But in terms of putting this back in, it's pretty easy. Just line up the slit, slide it in, there you go. All right, so putting this back together, doesn't really matter which way you do it. This is a little tricky part here too. So I'm gonna just grab it like this. I'm gonna put this on here. And I'm just gonna tap it directly until it catches. All right, and then I'm gonna come in with the punch and finish it off. And then just make sure none of the ends are sticking out on the side there. So all good and flush. And then same deal with this, stick it in there. You can honestly push it back in with your finger, good to go. Shove the nozzle in there, make sure that the hole lines up with the hole here. Make sure that's all good. And you may need to play with it a bit. And you should be able to see a little bit of light coming through there. And once you see that, you can grab your screw, drop it in. Should go in about that much. And then tighten everything back up. Yeah, so check that, make sure that you do have that spring tension. And there's also an O-ring. Sometimes it gets stuck in the bolt carrier, so just keep an eye out for that, but make sure that's there as well. Stick that back in there. Yeah, so I ended up using the punch. Pull it forward slightly, and then you should be able to just slide the key right back in there. There you go. Make sure you got good return, good to go. So pull the nozzle forward slightly, stick the key, boom. So now we've got to put this spring back in. So the easy way to do this, I'm taking the spring back out, is you take your spring, you have your key set up like this. You slide the spring down into its pocket. Then you use your needle nose tweezers to slide it over the plastic nub inside. And then you're gonna have to reorient the spring as well. So as you kind of push it down, you want to pull back on that spring to get it to sit flat. And once you do, good to go. So it's as easy as that. Then you go in, tighten everything back down. Again, just keep an eye on the wear marks on these bolts so you don't over torque anything. Just get it facing backwards like so. We'll make sure that one's good, that one looks good. Cool. And there you have it. Nozzle return spring has been replaced. All right. Just drop this in the gun, make sure it works. Good to go. So that's pretty much it. Just a little bit of messing around and get it knocked out with some simple tools. All right, catch you on the next one.